Welcome to another episode of Locked In Golden State Warriors podcast. I'm Brandon Ferrigno. Joined by me is my co-host Jordan Medeiros, and we have a special guest tonight, Bashar from 49er Minded, Cory, Mr. Sports Fanatic himself, and the one and only Kevin Danna. How we doing, fellas?
What's up? That's Kevin Danna from the Santa Cruz Warriors, main announcer for them. He's also from 95.7 The Game, the Warriors Roundtable with Gary St. Jean, and he also announced one of the Dream Team USA Olympic Games at NBC. So he's all over the place. He does college sports, and we're welcome to have him. So thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys. Happy to be on with you guys.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Unfortunate circumstances. We suffered, loss, but hey, you're here, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, let's get it started, guys. First question is, what went wrong in tonight's game? Kevin, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I know it sounds trite, but as they say, it's a make or miss league, and Dallas hit 23s tonight after having a subpar game 3 when they were, I think, 13 of 45. They hit 47% from downtown. Golden State hit 10 threes. That's a 30-point difference from behind the arc, and Golden State lost by 10. Now, I mean, they played their way back into the game. They played themselves out of garbage time, but if Reggie Bullock's going to go 6 of 10 from 3, and Maxi Kleber's going to hit a couple of threes, and Dorian Finney-Smith is going to hit his first 4 threes. I think he started 4 for 4 in this game and finished 4 of 7. Like, the Mavericks are a dangerous team when they are hitting threes. We saw it in Game 2 when they got out to that 19-point lead, and we saw it when they got out to the 29-point lead tonight. Is that sustainable for 4 straight games? I don't think so. But Dallas played like a team with their backs against the wall, and I thought initially that Golden State's activity level and intensity level was pretty good. Then kind of second quarters where it got away from them, then it really got away from them in the third. Kudos for fighting back, but Dallas just hit too many threes tonight.
All right. Cory?
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what Kevin said, I mentioned this, I think we did a preview show or something before this series started. Dallas is a very streaky team. So you're going to get a team like that who looked very, very subpar in the first 3 games. You figured at some point they were going to find their mojo at some point. And as Kevin said, that fourth quarter with the bench, they got it all the way down to 8 or 10. I think the game ended losing by 10. That's a lot of momentum leading into Thursday, going back to Chase. So I think kind of played their game. The one thing I just seemed, maybe it was in the third quarter, they just seemed a little lackluster on defense where they weren't really finishing. Dallas was doing a lot of what the Warriors do and just swinging the ball back and forth, and they, playing in that zone, they should have been able to guard that perimeter a little bit better tonight. But it's one game. They'll bounce back. Thursday is going to be absolutely lit up. Chase Center, the Thrive City and everything. It's going to be absolute chaos. So Warriors fans out there, sit down, strap in, and hold on, because it's going to be a hell of a Game 5.
Cory, you can't say any better than that. I didn't notice it too much right off the bat when I first started watching the game, but on the end of the game highlights, when they compiled everything, put everything together, we just left the middle wide open all game long. It was just so pathetic. The Warriors did, and we definitely got to be tougher defensively. If we're going to try to, we should win the series out, obviously, but if we advance to the finals, we could never, ever let the middle open like that. What's up, John V? How you doing? Good to have you on.
What's up, fam? Hey, sorry, guys, man.
We got Kevin here.
Sorry for you.
So we got Cory, Jordan, and my boy Brandon. So
what's up, Bobby?
John? Thanks for joining us.
John, what's going on, brother?
What's up, fellas? Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So
Brandon.
John V, guys, is going to be neutral, or he might be neutral. He's a Cleveland Cavaliers fan. So great to have him on.
Anyway, just what you were saying there, Bashar, about leaving the middle open. Sorry, John. Let me just finish this point. The Warriors are playing zone most of the night. If they end up going back to man-to-man at any point, I think that middle will get closed up again.
Sure hope so.
Anyway, go ahead. I just wanted to add that.
Oh, and I was just going to say, I don't know. I just finished a show of my own, so I apologize if I regurgitate anything you guys already covered, but 10 threes isn't going to get it done, man.
Yeah.
10 threes is not going to get it done versus what did they shoot? 20. Dallas had 20, I believe.
20 of 43, 46, 47%.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, this is a Golden State team that 10 threes is not that's not going to do it, and that's not their identity. Like, those guys hit their shots. Look, I don't know if the leak in the roof, I don't know. Sometimes I go back to that Baltimore, San Francisco Super Bowl.
I was thinking the
Like,
same thing.
electricity goes out. Like, you just kind of lose your. I don't know, man. I don't know. But nonetheless, I still don't think that this was anything. Look, like I told Bashar, I don't know if we had this discussion in Spaces or not, but without taking anything away from your Golden State Warriors, this isn't the youthful team from 2016, 2017. These guys have a little miles on them. They're gonna lose one. Could they have won this game? They probably should have. Does it hurt them? I still have them winning this series and moving on to the finals and taking it there. So I'm not like I'm a neutral fan. I love the NBA. I have no ill will towards the Warriors.
Except for when Mike Brown coaches.
We had some Mike Brown. I can't stand Mike Brown. I'm sorry, but he's the equivalent to me of a cardboard pinup. If you just set him there and everybody just high fives it or throws a towel on his head, like he's just cardboard.
Don't watch Sacramento then.
No purpose. He has no purpose. Yeah, Sacramento should be afraid. Like they should be a bit concerned because Mike Brown's not. Look, I have no ill will for the Warriors. I'm a 49er fan in Ohio. I'm a rare breed out here. A lot of people would say if you're a 49er fan, you should probably be a Warriors fan. Like, I disagree. I was never a Browns fan. I was never a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I enjoy watching the Warriors play. I still enjoy watching them play. I think the team that built an incredible championship dynamic through the draft. I have absolutely no ill will for the Warriors, and I still have them as a favorite of mine to win the finals. This game in Dallas was a must-win, and like it or not, I still believe in conspiracy versus money and how we draw out a series. I think it was more beneficial for the NBA for Dallas to come home and win one. Do I think it's? Do I believe in like the refs? I think it's. I don't know. We'll come back to that.
Thanks for your feedback, John.
Kevin, I have a question for you. So people say that Luka doesn't have help when we're in these playoff games, but tonight it looked like he did have help. What do you think the media is going to say tomorrow? You think they're going to say, they're going to mention that, he did have help, or you think they're going to keep going on with this narrative that he doesn't have help around him?
Yeah, I think tomorrow will be a good talking point to bring up that Spencer Dinwiddie, Davis Bertans trade really helped them when they shipped Kristaps Porzingis off to Washington. And look, I mean, if it's Luka spread out with a bunch of shooters, and if those shooters aren't hitting shots, then it's going to look ugly for Dallas, like it did in Game 1 and a good chunk of Game 3. You know, if Bullock's going 0 for 10 from 3, and Maxi Kleber is passing up open jumpers because he's been cold, like it's not going to look good for Dallas. But those guys are capable shooters. Like Maxi Kleber came into this series shooting 49% from 3. It's been a different story for him in the Western Conference Finals, and he did hit a couple tonight. But yeah, I mean, he has more help than I think like people would, just kind of blurt out and say Luka's got no help. Like Spencer Dinwiddie's a damn good player. Like, Davis Bertans has had a bad year, but that guy can get – I mean, he was one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA a year or two ago. You used to be able to clock him in at mid-40s from downtown. Like, he's got a lot of capable shooters. Dorian Finney-Smith's a very good perimeter defender. Reggie Bullock can get hot like we've seen in 2 games tonight. I like Dwight Powell. I am a Stanford guy, so of course I'm going to like Dwight Powell. But you know, the lob hasn't been there for him in this series. But usually Luka and Dwight connect on a lob or two per game. He's an athletic forward who, in the regular season, has actually had really good games against Golden State. So there's definitely talent on that team. Clearly, Luka's the best player, but you know, there are guys who can put the biscuit in the basket. And Jalen Brunson. I mean, how do you not mention Jalen Brunson?
Oh yeah,
he's had a heck.
He's been killing us at times. It's been annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cory, I want to get your opinion on this. Because we know as soon as the Warriors win, we're not going to get any credit. They're just going to say Luka has no help, and to just go back to the same old narrative. You want to piggyback off of what Kevin said?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, Dallas is a very, very streaky team. So live by the three, die by the three is a perfect motto for them. I'm okay giving Luka 26 shots, knowing that he's only going to hit 30 points. I mean, he went 10 to 26. I'll give him that all day long. Even the 40-point game that he had in Game 3, it doesn't matter. He needs a supporting cast, and that's what Kevin said. I'm pretty much just riding off the coattails of what Kevin said because I agree with him 100%. When his role players are hitting shots, they're going to be able to stay in games. The problem is they don't have the size to deal with any team out of the East. They don't have any type of consistency in scoring just because of their motto. It's a little bit like what the Warriors were in the beginning of that run of 5 straight. We're just throwing up threes, but there was a little bit more fundamentals getting down low. They had Bogut, pick and pop, pick and rolls, all of that type of stuff. Dallas really doesn't have that. You have Brunson, who has had a really, really good series. Dinwiddie has been very, very good off the bench. But the role players in general just have not shown up. They showed up tonight, and as you saw in that fourth quarter, the Warriors with their second unit were able to come all the way back to 10 points. Digits. So Warriors are in great shape. I think they're going to close them out, and I think, to be honest, I think they're going to blow the roof off Chase. I think this is going to be another 20, 25-point win. Just because they just don't allow this to happen generally in back-to-back games anyway. And I can't expect Dallas to be able to drop another 23s, which is exactly what it took to win a single game in a Western Conference final.
JV, I'm going to hand it over to you. We saw Klay Thompson struggle tonight. What do you think went wrong compared to last game with him?
I think that they weren't moving the ball the way they're not moving the ball the way they did before. Like I for whatever reason, from what I caught, like I was still doing a show and watching, from here. Mm-hmm. I have to go back and watch the first and second quarter because I didn't get to see much of it, but I don't know how much I saw Klay struggle on quite a few shots. I can't give you an honest assessment right now, man. I have to go back and see the first and second quarter. But I did notice that they were not moving the ball the way that they were. How many turnovers did you guys?
I got a fun fact for you. The Warriors had eight turnovers. Yeah, so it wasn't on paper. Sure, you think the Warriors only had 8 turnovers. You think it was a victory, but something wasn't right tonight. We can't put our fingers on it. Mm-hmm. And I know you guys mentioned earlier how how the leak in the ceiling kind of reminded you of the Super Bowl or whatever. And I was thinking it might slow the Dallas Mavericks down because they were the hotter team, obviously, in the first half. But hey, it just wasn't.
Yeah, but they picked up. They picked up. They were, what was that, a 29-point lead at that point?
Right.
Yeah.
Dude,
exactly.
After that leak, and they resumed the game, they went on
on fire.
I think a 16-4 run or something.
They were on a
like
scary
that.
run. I was like, well, okay, you can pack your bags. And Moody and Kuminga, and towards the end, they brought it down to a much closer margin. When I saw it was in 10 points, 9 points, like, whoa.
Yeah, they got a chance.
Kuminga had a good game. Yeah, 17. I think he had 17 tonight.
Yeah, my buddy kept going back and forth with me on Twitter. He's like, he didn't think Kuminga had a good game, and he's a rookie. And
we were going back and forth in it. We were texting it. We were. I think. So, from what you saw, would you say that they were more laxed in their gameplay tonight? Were they overconfident? But I mean, I need to go back and watch the first and second quarter. But tell me, did you guys see a team that was either overconfident or just missing something? What was wrong? Because 8 turnovers has been somewhat consistent for the Warriors. What would you say an average turnover is for them through the playoffs, through the games? I've seen them turn the ball over between 8 and a dozen times or more.
Well,
so 8 would be what, about an average?
No, 8's really good for them because in the regular season they turned it over just shy of 15 times per game, which was second worst in the league. Like, crazy. If you're turning over 8 times a game, that probably leads the NBA in fewest turnovers per game. So, like, the assist to turnover ratio wasn't the issue tonight. 26 assists to 8 turnovers. I do agree with you though, John. Like, I thought at times the ball did get stagnant. Where it could have used an extra pass. Like there was a play, Andrew Wiggins took it to the hole. If he just looked into the corner, there was a wide open Clay. He took a tough layup. You like the aggressiveness from Wiggins, but perhaps that pass to Clay is a better option. So I do agree with you, John, in segments that the ball movement certainly could have been better tonight, but the assist to turnover ratio wasn't what got them. I think it does boil down to 23s for Dallas, and then like in the second quarters where it kind of started to get away, like Moody and Kuminga were good in this game, but in the second quarter, like when it was the young lineup, I think it was Moody, Kuminga, and Poole were all out there. The lead went from Dallas up 4 to Dallas up 12, and it didn't get better for a while.
Is Golden State, are they doing too much moving the ball? Even through the regular season, were they trying to get too cute through games? Their passing game was some of the best I've seen. I think that was one of my favorite things of watching them is their ball movement. When they weren't turning it over, they move it fast. They moved it fast. Were they doing too much through the regular season? Are they doing too much now? Are they trying to get too cute with the ball? Draymond he's rolling passes to Steph. Hoping that Steph's going to do what? Tumble to get it? Like, I always notice that his passes are very low to the bottom of the key. I don't understand that. Like,
I've noticed that.
Is he the one turning over the ball more out of everyone?
I would have to say yes.
He has his moments.
He has his moments, yeah.
Just like bad passes.
What I've seen with the majority of the turnovers this year is trying to thread a needle. It's all in passes, and most of the time it's been from about 25 or 30 feet away, where he's trying to thread a needle to Steph or Clay or Poole, and he just gets a little too cute, or he thinks someone's going to cut, and he throws it down towards the key, and say Clay kind of stands stationary. It's a lot like when you see with a quarterback and him and the receiver aren't on the same page, and he throws it away where he thinks that the receiver is going to do something, and he doesn't. I mean, that's what I've seen the majority of the turnovers from Draymond throughout the playoffs, just because the turnovers have been abysmal in the playoffs. 8 is by far the lowest that they had. I think they had I have them right here. What was the final turnovers for game 3? It wasn't 8, but it was maybe 12 or 13. So anywhere around 10. I always said if the Warriors can shoot around 47% and above and keep the turnovers around a dozen, they're going to win every single game. Now, they ended up shooting 49% tonight and only 8 turnovers, but that was because Dallas ended up hitting 23s. Yeah. And that's not going to happen probably ever again. So there's always a exception.
It was a must-win at Dallas.
Yeah.
I guess if you want to talk about what will they say about Golden State tomorrow, they're going to say that they were playing stagnant. They were lax. They were not playing top of their game.
Yeah. They weren't covering they were playing zone most of the night as well, and they weren't able to cover all sides. If they go back to man at some point, that should get covered on top of the paint was wide open all night, and Dallas would just keep shooting threes just on heat checks because they shot 20 of 43 from the outside. That's never going to happen again.
Yeah,
it's never going to happen again.
Corey.
We just give them
game, man.
Yeah, we give them the one game. We'll take the gentleman's sweep come Thursday, and like I said, I think they'll blow the roof off come Thursday, and Dallas will get sent home, and we'll get ready for the finals against Miami or Boston, and that it's another series that
that's a crazy series over there, man. I mean, they're taking turns blowing each other out, man.
Yeah, that's the weirdest series.
I mean, Tyler Hero with Tyler Hero out, that gave Boston the advantage in a sense because he's a great defensive player. Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of injury going on with Jimmy Butler, his knee. I think that Miami is going to give you a game. They're lacking a big man. I think Boston's the clear winner of this series.
I do too.
I've been thinking Boston the whole time, way before the series started.
I was
Phoenix beating Dallas though too, and that's not exactly what happened. So who knows? There's 3 games left. 2 of them, if it goes 7, will be in Miami. So it's an easier road if it's Miami, but Boston's going to be a hell of a series if it is Boston, just with their premier, just their excellent defense guarding the perimeter, and they have enough size down low where the back doors, which we've pretty much had field days with all series, is probably going to get shut down like what Memphis did in the last series. So Warriors are going to have to get creative of ball movement and turnovers, points in transition, that sort of thing. But we're still a little ways from that discussion.
Yeah.
If turnovers weren't corrected by now, Corey, they're probably – I mean,
I'm talking about forcing turnovers and getting out in transition.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
8 turnovers tonight. You're going to win every game. It's the other side hitting
shooting
23s.
goes down. As long as the shooting goes down. I mean, their shooting was totally off. I mean, freaking Steph couldn't even make a easy
layup.
Not even a layup, but an easy one from the free throw line. I mean, like
Steph took 5 threes tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Clay was 5 for 10.
And then he came in the fourth quarter and he didn't even touch the ball.
Clay was 5 for 10. You'd think he would have shot a bit more if he was shooting at a good percentage, but
he didn't come in until about 3 minutes left.
Yeah, he had a 6-minute stretch in the second quarter where Clay didn't attempt a shot. He started, I want to say, 0 for 4, so he finished like 5 of his last 6.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about Bally's play in the fourth quarter? Do you think he'll start in rotation?
Oh, he got blown by Doncic. I won't
come in.
I thought he was pretty solid in the that second unit was pretty damn good for that fourth quarter stretch. I mean, they were down 29, cut it to 8 in 110-102 with 3:22 to go. I mean, Bielitsa did get blown by that one time, but I mean, he was a plus 18 in 14 minutes and 50 seconds. So
there you go.
Hit both of his shots, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Like
I like
he was doing, he was doing work.
Here, going off of that, I also wanted to ask you, Kevin, did you think that's because we already know Corey's answer, but I'm gonna ask it anyways. Do you think Steve Kerr should have kept with the bench, like with the last 3.5 minutes with the way they were playing?
That's a really good question. That's a tough question. I'm gonna get my breakfast pastry on and waffle here a little bit, because like I see both sides. Not to do that because like A, you want to roll with the squad that got you there, but B, you have like 3 of the best closers in the game right now in Steph, Clay, and Dre, and 8 points and 3:22 to them is very surmountable. Like, I think your like second unit can get you to a spot, and then like, all right, you throw the big guns back in there. I also remember like Game 5 of the 2015 Western Conference Semis, or Game 6 when like the Rockets were down 19 to the Clippers, and it looked like the Clippers were going to move on and play the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. Kevin McHale benched James Harden They're down 98-79. They won that game by double digits, and James Harden never came back in the game. So I can see the argument for keeping those guys in there. That's a tough one. And like when they brought one starter back on, then like immediately after that Jason Kidd timeout, like Luka Doncic got a dunk.
Yeah.
I think it's the zone
It was
that
an
he was
easy
talking
dunk,
about,
too.
like,
Dunk killed us.
right down the lane.
And then a
It's
three.
then the three, and then it's
Yep.
like,
It
all
was
right,
over. Yeah.
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 So
I mean, you got these all-stars, or not, I mean, these future Hall of Famers sitting on the bench, well rested. So, like you said, the backup squad did get them to a certain level, and in most cases, you would think those guys would carry on with their momentum and just the fact they're rested, and we didn't close it out. That's all it is, But hey, I'm okay with Kerr making that move.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cory.
No, I mean, I agree with Kevin. My point earlier was no, you got to get the closers in. You had the second unit get it all the way down to 10. To be honest with you, I think they would have had to have pretty much pitched a shutout when the starters came in anyway. And even though the second team had been on the floor for 8 or 9 minutes, I don't see you got to realize Dallas kind of went cold from the outside. I think they only hit the 1-3 from that right corner in the fourth quarter. So that had a lot to do with it as well. They kind of went back to the woes of the first 3 games of the series. You had to put Steph back in. And then, Clay, who had been hot going forward a little bit, was there as well. But to me, I do exactly what Steve Kerr did, hoping that, a little bit of the momentum that they had in the first 8 or 9 minutes of that final quarter was enough. And the dunk, and then a few kind of questionable fouls there to get – Luka went to the line way too much, and I think a lot of that was a little BS. He gets away with that push-off seemingly every single time he's driving, which just drives me nuts. The Wiggins foul that was called as he's getting held. I mean, come on.
Was
terrible.
We saw that.
It was bad.
So
yeah.
I do exactly what Steve Kerr did. I agree wholeheartedly. You leave the bench in there until it can get to a reasonable number where you think the starters can close it, and it just didn't happen this time.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question for Kevin, because in this game, more so than the other playoff games, we saw substantial minutes for Moody and Kuminga, and in terms of their progression and how they played today, just give us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you go back to game 2 of this series in the fourth quarter after Damian Lee had a rough stretch in the second quarter. He was like a minus 12 in 5 minutes, and I'm a big Damian Lee guy. He's a Santa Cruz Warrior. I'm a Santa Cruz Warrior. So
that's right.
I got to stick up for my She-Dubs. And I thought Damian Lee had some good minutes tonight. But so Damian Lee didn't play well in the second quarter of game 2. And so that's where we saw the first Moody minutes, rotation minutes. And I mean, he was very big. I want to say he was like in those 10 minutes, he was like a +8 or something. He had the one layup that put him up 8 late in that game, where, I mean, no hesitation, attack from the top of the key. And he's kind of built off that, I felt like, in each of the last couple of games. He didn't have a good plus-minus in game 3, but tonight I thought, he was a big part of that big comeback. And, Steve Kerr had talked about, like, he thought the Dallas series could be a spot for some rotation minutes for Moses Moody, because their last game against Dallas in the regular season, he had that fourth quarter where he was a perfect 5 of 5, hit 3 threes, had 13 points to bring them back into a game they eventually lost. And, Moody today, 10 points on 4 of 7, 2 steals, and a couple of big deflections as part of that comeback. He's just active defensively. He's wise beyond his years, so I thought he was pretty solid today. And Kuminga, I mean, 17 and 8, a +9 in a 10-point loss. This is kind of beside the point, I think, what you're asking me, but just the one thing that I've noticed with him is his in-season progression of improving his free throw percentage is something I think that is very rare for a rookie. Like, he was hanging around the low 50s. For a good chunk of the season. I'm checking it right now. I want to say he got up to the high 60s by the end of the season. So I was really impressed with that. He's taken to coaching very well. Yeah, he finished 68% from the foul line, considering he was around 50 for a good chunk of the season. that was impressive to me. I mean, he just does other things athletically that maybe only Andrew Wiggins can do on the team. He is that elite of an athlete, and maybe even more than what Andrew Wiggins can do. And
I think he's a better athlete than Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah. I mean, I would say so too. And it's crazy saying that
Sure.
after seeing the dunk over Luka Doncic in Game 3, but Kuminga is a special kind of
Yeah.
man. I can't wait for this guy to continue to mature.
Yeah. People hate me because all I do is say his name and scream his name on Twitter all the time.
Yep. John, do you have? Oh, go ahead.
No,
Jay.
go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask if you have. Man, I lost my train of thought. Just Jordan, ask your question.
I was
Go ahead,
just going to ask, what'd you guys, all of you, think about Jordan Poole's play tonight? I feel like he was a little up and down, but what you guys think?
Average for what you got, for what you had before. What do you had? 14?
Yeah, 14. Yeah.
Yeah, he had 14 and he
29 minutes.
I'm waiting for another big Jordan pool party game, though. Without a doubt, we need to see another pool party.
Honestly, I was hoping that was going to happen tonight with the bench.
Was part of it just some mental thing? Like, it was weird because like Luka in the post game press conference for the previous game, it sounded like we were laughing. We thought he tapped out and he was cashing out, and he's like, "Oh yeah, in the off season, I got to work hard and I got to do this in the off season." But I almost feel that like he took that Wiggins posterization dunk as an insult, and he probably went in the locker room before this current game and got his brothers and his team all hyped up to come out strong in this game somehow. And maybe that's what it was. I don't know. It's always teams with backs against their wall in these final games when you want to sweep them, and a lot of times they play their best ball. But and then, of course, in one of the previous games, they actually came out swinging very similar to this game. And we thought we were going to lose, in Dallas, obviously, we were able to come back and beat them. But, yeah, I mean, so, I kind of see us being our normal Warriors at Chase. We just play so much better at Chase sometimes. So,
yeah, we're still undefeated in the playoffs at Chase Center. Just putting that out there.
It, though.
Okay, so here's my question. Kevin, you might know this best since you're our Warriors resident, you're his current Warriors expert right now. About the process, about the status. We got GP2 and Otto Porter Jr. waiting in the rings. Anybody come back anytime soon? Or
well, Otto's closer than Gary. I think there's hope that Gary could return for the NBA Finals. It was 3 to 5 weeks is kind of like what the timeline was like that was reported, and it was early May, and so like it would be like a month to Game 1 of the NBA Finals from the time he suffered that injury in Game 2 against Memphis. So that's kind of like right in that sweet spot of that timeline. Otto Porter, there was some question as to whether he could play coming into today before he got ruled out. So that leads me to think that there is at least a decent chance he could play Game 5. I mean, I don't know one way or another, but I would say he certainly has a much better chance of playing Game 5 than Gary Payton, who won't play Game 5. I think he could potentially get some minutes, and hopefully he's healthy enough to go for Game 5 because he's done some really nice thing in the playoffs, from the Memphis series on especially.
So here's my next question: do we see Andre Iguodala at all?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe in the finals.
Maybe in the finals.
Maybe in the finals.
He'll come when we're up 3-0.
Before Game 3 shooting, warm-ups and stuff. And I read something that there's a chance that Kerr was optimistic that they may end up getting him back at some point during the finals, not in the rest of this series. But, it sounds about right from Kevin, from sources that I've heard as well. Porter may get some play here. But I am pretty optimistic that we may see Peyton minus a major, side effect or something that happens here from now until next week to delay anything. But we could definitely use GP2 in the finals against either one of these teams.
No doubt.
For sure.
I love GP2.
I think Porter would. I think I heard today that Steve Kerr was optimistic for a potential Game 5.
Yeah,
I think that's what he said. He'd like to have him for Game 5. Didn't want to force him out there Was that an ankle? Was Porter's? Was that an ankle? High
It was
sprain
soreness,
or
right?
soreness?
It was foot soreness. Yeah.
Foot soreness.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, they weren't going to risk it at Dallas at a potential sweep, right? They were just going to rest him.
Take the safe route.
I would. I wouldn't have done it any other way.
Yeah. I mean, what do we? I mean, I know we're probably going to see it anyways, but what do we expect different from tonight's game going into Game 5? Anybody?
Momentum, in my opinion.
Scoring more threes.
I think they need to get. I think they just need to get the momentum and sustain it. Play their brand, dude. They play fast. They play in transition. I don't know, man. I mean, as an outsider looking in, man, tonight just wasn't their brand of ball.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, play fast. I'm all about the Warriors, dictating the tempo and, with their small ball lineups and stuff. And you've noticed, I mean, it's almost like, I mean, I know that we're still up on them by a huge margin, obviously, but any team with Luka on, obviously Dallas Mavericks, they're almost like the perfect team to slow down the Warriors because Luka slows the hell out of the game in general. He's like the ultimate guy in the league to just slow down the tempo of the game. So, in chase, it just got to bring that energy. Obviously, having the crowd helps and get that feel of Oracle. So, what do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, I was agreeing with you, BZ. Dallas in the regular season was the second slowest paced team in the NBA, and that's because it's Luka probing and figuring things out, and they're going to go deep into shot clocks, and Luka's going to dribble you down, try to back you down. Or he's going to have late clock attacks to the rim and kick it out into the corner and stuff. So, definitely trying to play fast would be to the Warriors' favor.
Would you say Luka's player comp is almost like a way lesser athletic version of LeBron James with a better 3-point shot, perhaps? Or no defense?
I've heard that comparison before, and obviously LeBron's a million times more athletic, but like court vision, passing wise, and LeBron's a better defender. At 37-year-old, prime LeBron's a significantly better defender. I've heard that comparison for sure. Some people say James Harden, but I've heard the LeBron comparison too.
I was just going to mention that it looked to me like Dallas was pushing the pace a lot faster today as well. And I know the analysts and announcers and everything of what we've been watching the last week or so of telling essentially saying, Luka, you need to push the pace because this slow pace isn't working against this team, allowing the defense to set. I think the zone kind of screwed them today. You can throw zones out to try to discombobulate a team, but it seemed like Dallas was ready for it. Ball movement and everything. Dallas, in a lot of ways, looked a lot like the Warriors tonight. And just ball movement, finding the open man from the corner or the wing. So in a lot of ways, I say Dallas beat the Warriors at their own game tonight. But again, 23s, I just don't see sustainable. At all.
So would you like to see more man-to-man then?
For me, I think the Warriors should come out in man-to-man to start the game and see if they can go on, a 15-2 run or, a big run and try to take Dallas out of the game early. And then maybe somewhere second quarter or second half, maybe switch it up. But the zone was killing them on being able to too many wide open looks tonight.
And too much of that wide open key.
Yeah. I noticed too, the Warriors still, I know it's because Dallas beat them in the threes, but the Warriors still beat them in points in the paint, 44-36. But honestly, just watching the game, it didn't seem like that.
It didn't feel like it at all.
Yeah. It was just,
I thought we were getting killed in points in the paint as well.
All around.
Yeah. I think they're
what was the rebounding?
45 to
42.
We got out rebounded, right? I think we
got out rebounded tonight. Looney was very quiet tonight too. That's another thing.
But again, hats off to Looney though for so far in this NBA playoff because Kevin Danna knows early in the season. I think I had you on before the season or early the season. I forgot what it was exactly, but I had voiced my opinions about Looney. How I was never a big fan of his. How I just hated on the guy big time throughout his whole career. Here goes Kevin corrected me. Looney can guard guys out on the perimeter, and even though he plays below the rim, he's a hustler, and he's earned a lot of my respect. I'll be honest, guys. He's looking really, really nice this coming.
Eat your heart out, Bashar. Eat your heart out.
If he was on, I'm sorry, Kevon. Kevon, not Kevin.
Finals MVP? Just kidding.
Hey, no. Steph.
I know. Hey, they gave Iggy the Finals MVP. So
I remember. He deserved it though. He played excellent.
Yeah, but did you guys hear too the crowd chanting MVP too for Luka? Oh, that was pretty funny.
I missed that one.
Yeah, I think it was in the
towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
Kevin, you might know the answer to this. So, did Looney do anything specifically different this offseason? I think we did bring in a different big man coach for the Warriors this particular season, right? Forgot his name.
Dejan Milojevic, who coached Jokic.
There
Serbia.
you go, that guy.
And he was brought in to help with the bigs. James Wiseman, who they thought would play this year, unfortunately wasn't able to get in, but 3 games with my boys in Santa Cruz. But Looney really changed his diet. He changed his body. He's put on more weight. He came in as a forward to the NBA, and he played the point guard in high school before he had his growth spurt. So he kind of came in more perimeter oriented. He shot 42% from 3 at UCLA his 1 year. Now it wasn't a lot of attempts, but I think he hit 15 threes at UCLA, and now he's just kind of changed his body to be able to handle more of kind of the wear and tear of the center position. And I mean, it showed this year. He was able to play all 82 games for the first time in his career, and nearly started all 82 as well. And he's played every game of the playoffs. And since he's been reinserted back into the starting lineup, the Warriors are 4-1 since that game 6 against Memphis.
Only 5 players in the entire NBA played all 82.
Yeah, Dwight Powell's another one of them.
That's crazy.
Dwight Powell.
Yeah. Another thing is, dude, why this is the second time it happened to me. I was coming up with a question.
I have a question for Kevin. If you're not,
go ahead, Bashar.
All right, write it down, man.
All right, I'll have to write it down.
All right, so obviously, I'm a big Wiseman guy. A lot of people know that about me, but
that's what it was.
There you go. So I was just saying, I heard something that he was going to play the summer leagues. It sounds like he's healthy now. Do you still have high hopes for the guy, Kevin? Because I still have a lot of faith in the guy.
I definitely do. I mean, he played 3 games in the G League and was 17-9 in 20 minutes a game. You extrapolate that out to 36 minutes. Those are ridiculous numbers. He had plenty of rust in those games since it had been a year or just about 11 months, and he still put up 17-9. And obviously, the G League's one level of competition, the NBA is another level of competition. But I mean, for a guy who played 3 games of college basketball, to average 11 points and 6 rebounds in his first NBA season, I don't think is anything to scoff at. That's pretty solid. Now, his advanced numbers weren't that good. That's been talked about a lot, his plus minus and whatever may have you, net rating, all that. Those numbers weren't great. But I think for a guy who's still figuring out how to play professional basketball, I'll take that. And, I mean, he's athletic. He's a vertical spacer. He's a big-time lob threat. He runs the floor very well. And I can't wait to see him on the floor. His hope is that I think he said in a press conference, the hope is that he would play Summer League this year. And hopefully he does. That's 6 weeks away. So July 2nd at Chase Center. Come on out.
First you'll be there, huh, Kevin?
Classic. So
I said Wiseman could also hit the 3-pointer too, man.
Yeah, he was 4 or 5 from 3 in his first NBA game, I want to say.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
It's about the only thing that went right in that game.
Yeah, I do have to say too, looking back at the season as well, people weren't convinced that the Warriors were gonna be back. At most, they thought they were gonna win at least 39 games. I mean, what's your take, Kevin, on this year's team, and how surprised are you about making it back to the conference finals so far?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a best case scenario for Golden State. I thought they'd be a playoff team, and then they got on that 18-2 start, and then it's like, oh wow, all right, this team's going to contend. And then, Clay comes back, and then Draymond goes out after 7 seconds, and then Steph gets hurt, and it's not looking great. It was looking ugly for a little bit, but the way they ended the regular season, even though Steph wasn't playing in those games, they finished on a 5-game winning streak. Jordan Poole, the way he finished the last 20 games of the regular season, they came into the playoffs with, I thought, a good bit of mojo. They came in, first quarter of the season, it's like, all right, they're going to be the 1 or the 2 seed fighting with Phoenix. And then it got to a point, it's like, are they going to be able to hold on to home court advantage in the first round? It's gone from that to, after Phoenix lost, the route to the NBA Finals goes through Chase Center. So, I mean, it's been a heck of a ride for this team. I mean, it's funny to look at, some of the pundits now, or some of the projections saying, oh, they're going to go 35-47, and they're going to be the 11th best team in the Western Conference. They certainly outperformed that. But, I've had a lot of projections go wrong in my day. I thought the Utah Jazz were going to beat the Dallas Mavericks in the first round because Luka was hurt to start the series.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, I thought the Toronto Raptors. I mean, I had Phoenix going far in the playoffs.
Sure, everyone had the Nets going far too.
Yeah.
And they got swept.
Series. They got swept. So
they looked horrible at the end of the regular season, though. I think come playoff time, I think they knew. I think the majority of people knew that Boston was going to handle them. Now, maybe not in 4, but I don't think anyone expected it to go 7 or maybe even 6.
Well, even Philly. Some people had them in the finals, but
not enough.
When Boston made that run down the stretch, they won. It was like 30. I can't remember specifically, but they made us. They were awesome.
Yeah,
they were in the basement, dude. They came up to the top of the East, man. They were awesome. That team still a bit inconsistent though.
It's the scoring. The scoring was huge at the end of the regular season, and the defense was there pretty much from day one. But if they can get their offense clicking, they're going to be a tough out for sure.
Yeah, I
still think Smart's ankle injury or foot.
He won't be fully healthy the rest of the season.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah,
piggybacking on those answers, I think we all can agree that the Warriors will be in the finals. So, John and Kevin, who would you rather see, Miami or Boston?
Go ahead, John.
Because I feel like I'm supporting the Warriors in this, man. I really am. I would rather see Miami if I'm being honest, because they do lack that big man. I think the Warriors can pull this out regardless. Boston, I think they'll give them a harder. I think I would rather see Miami. Let's just go there. I mean, we know what Boston brings, so I would rather see Miami if I'm a Warriors fan.
Yeah, I agree with John. From a Golden State perspective, I think Miami would be a quote unquote easier series. They swept them in the regular season, and during that stretch where Golden State was playing its worst basketball, they blasted Miami on the road. It was not close. It was one of the most impressive wins of the regular season. Shout out to former Santa Cruz Warrior Dwayne Dedman, who is on the Miami Heat. But yeah, I mean, I think Boston, presents a stiffer challenge. Boston, I think, even though it's a 2-2 series, and John has mentioned this earlier in the podcast, I think they've clearly been the better team. I'd say it's 2.7 to 1.3 in that 4 games. The Celtics had a terrible third quarter in game 1 and a terrible first 15 minutes of game 3. They thoroughly outplayed Miami in the last 30 minutes of game 3, and were better than Miami in the first half of game 1. So I'd say out of what they played 16 quarters in that series, I'd say they've been the better team for 11 of those 16 quarters, maybe 12. So, and it's just like the quarters that they've been bad, they've been really bad. I think they win in 6, honestly. I think they get it done.
There's games where when Marcus Smart was out in the series versus when Marcus Smart wasn't on the court, they were more productive. I think he was. Now his defense is one thing, but offensively, they were playing better ball when Marcus Smart was not on the court. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is they match up better versus the Warriors than they do Miami. I think I think they match up better. But between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they have figured out, and they figured out how to utilize both. They figured out how to coexist on the court during the end of the regular season down the stretch. They were unstoppable.
Yeah.
They were just amazing. I think it was a 30 games. I don't want to say the wrong numbers, but it was something crazy.
I think they were 28-7 to finish the regular season.
Okay, all right.
I think they were 23-24 and finished 51-31. Is what I want to say.
That's awesome. My God.
Yeah.
So here's my next question, and this is actually a good question because I heard it earlier today on 95.7 The Game with Steiny and Dibs. They said the Warriors win the finals, win it all. Is it the Warriors didn't need KD, or they did need KD, or did KD need the Warriors to win a title? Well, let's just go with my first question.
I mean, that makes more sense. If you're gonna, I think
you get what I'm saying.
That makes more sense. That would KD clearly needed them more than they needed him. I mean,
from the looks of it, yeah.
I just the when KD is like I don't even go there with KD and the Warriors anymore, man. I just feel like, you know what, dude, you wanted to leave, you wanted to make your own, your own statement in Brooklyn. How did that work out for you?
Yeah, exactly.
He wanted to be the leader of a team, and it imploded. Is essentially what it came down to. I want to piggyback real quick on the previous question of who would you rather play. I agree with both John and Kevin. I would rather face Miami because I think we win that series in 5, if maybe 6, if something goes a little haywire. Boston is a much tougher opponent, just in stylistically, the defense. The problem I see with Boston though is where is the scoring outside of a Jason Tatum and maybe Jaylen Brown. It's a lot like Dallas where you have like one superstar, maybe 2 superstars. Do they have enough supporting cast on the offensive side of the ball to be able to put up enough points?
I mean, if they can get Horford going, I mean, Horford can be the X factor in that. If you really want to be honest, in my opinion, but I mean, it's inconsistent though out of Horford. You know what I mean? You'll get a lights out game out of Horford. But
that's kind of my point.
It was right.
There's no consistency on the offensive side of the ball, minus a Jaylen Brown or possibly Cal, Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. The defense is going to be there. The defense has been there all year. They found some sort of formula at the back end of the season where they were just putting up a whole bunch of points. And I think that was kind of to Kevin's point there of finishing 26-7 or whatever the number was. But when they get into the lulls on the offense, is the defense going to be strong enough to be able to hold a team like Golden State that has just shooters all over the place and just skilled players? The bench, and I've said this all year, and you can throw Phoenix in there if you want to, but I don't buy it. The Warriors have had the most depth of any team in the association all season. Now, again, Clay was out for the first half of the season. We'll say Draymond then goes out, then Steph goes out, but they were able to stay in the top 4 pretty much all season, and they didn't drop like take Brooklyn, for instance, where they were first, second, third, and they fell all the way into a playing game. Depth is everything. Just, I mean, you can look at that in any sport. Injuries happen. It's just part of the game. So Boston would be a much tougher matchup. I think that is a 6 or 7 game series if it happens to be Miami, and Miami has to win tomorrow. They have to. If they win tomorrow, I see Boston probably winning Game 6, 7, and then who knows what happens in Game 7. But I could see Miami, pull this one off tomorrow and be 3-2 going back to TD Garden.
Yeah, and I feel like on that side of the Eastern Conference, I feel like home court advantage is really not a factor in this series at all, as well.
No.
So
You've just seen polar opposites. I mean,
exactly.
Boston blows Miami out one game. Miami comes back and blows them out. It's just
it's crazy.
It's a really
taking advantage
series.
of injuries. The injuries kind of offset those games, right? So.
To a point,
to a point. That's fair. I think it's not a blowout win if Tyler Hero was there though.
Yeah,
if he was healthy for that game.
Or 24-1, I think Miami had 1 point in the first 7 minutes of the game or something. I mean, it was like that.
That was crazy.
That's terrible.
Right,
crazy.
No offense, and Jimmy Butler is still out. And where's the offense coming from? Are you gonna?
And I think Cory, you spoke,
drop 20 or 25 a game.
Well, you're expecting Oladipo. You're expecting Oladipo. I think when we spoke the other night when I was in the chat, I was like, you're going to need a big game out of Oladipo, and you said, well, he's aging, right? So I mean, your expectation, but he actually did have a pretty good game. In the blowout, he actually did have a decent game.
What I was saying to that comment, real quick. What I was saying to that comment was, you can't rely on Oladipo to be able to show up for 18 or 20 points. And that was essentially what I was saying. Mm-hmm. Yes, he can. I mean, he went to Indiana, great college career and everything. I know he can do it. You can't. My point was, you can't rely on him to be able to put up those numbers on a consistent basis, especially in a 7-game series.
Yeah.
And I think the same can be said about Jimmy Butler, though. You can't expect him to carry with 40.
Yeah. If
he's healthy, you better have 20 to 25 minimum for Butler to expect to advance. He has the skill to be able to do it. Oladipo to me is a role player. You have a big time type of player. Adebayo is there for sure, but. Neither team has the bench to really be able to match. The difference in the East, though, compared to what the Warriors, certainly with the road that the Warriors have had to take, is the physicality. And what I'm hoping for is that series to go 7, just to bang and bruise a few more games and maybe not be at 100%. Obviously, Marcus Smart will not be at 100%, even if they advance and go all the way into the finals there. But the physicality, and that's the one thing. And when I saw that Boston had taken out Milwaukee, I said, we can win this, because Milwaukee was that one team. I'm going, okay, here we go. We got Giannis. I think Middleton would have been back at some point during the playoffs if they would have gone even into the Eastern Conference Final. There's no size. I mean, I know you have Williams and a little bit of size in Boston, but they're 6'10". No one's taller than 6'10" left in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So Looney. You get auto quarterback, whatever, but there's really no size in big 7-footers or anything like that to be able to really contend with.
Yeah. So we're gonna be wrapping it up soon. My last question is, for the next game, who is gonna be? I'm gonna go to each person. Who's your guys' standout guy to basically just finish it? Jordan, go first.
To finish what? Just the game in general?
Just the series, yeah. Like, who's gonna be your standout guy? Who do you think is gonna stand out most out of all 15 players that we have on the squad?
Well, because I always trash on him on Twitter. I think Damian Lee. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, he's got in the bag.
Honestly, it has to be Steph. Honestly, I mean he's our closer. He's our MVP, and I just feel like he's gonna go into the next game, and I'm gonna predict he'll score at least 35 points. He'll at least shoot like 5 threes, play good defense. Yeah, that's my take.
So if he shoots 5 threes, that means he's going 5 for 5 next game, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
He took 5 threes tonight and only hit 2 of them. So
Yeah.
you mean hitting 5 threes?
Yeah,
I got Curry too, man. Wearing his jersey, and I'm gonna be rooting for him from here on out. I've been wanting him to get another ring, Finals MVP perhaps. So I'm all about Curry. Enough said.
I may be a little optimistic here, but I can see Jordan Poole kind of resurrecting this series a little bit, and
I like that.
I think you're going to see them double teaming Curry and whatever, and I think Clay can get his points, and Clay really just has not shot well at all in this series. But I had a feeling tonight that Poole was going to go off, and the foul trouble and everything kind of messed with him. But I'd like to see Poole go off for say 20 or 25 on Thursday.
I'm going to piggyback off Cory there. I think Poole's the guy I'm looking for too, because Jordan Poole's had 7 20-point playoff games this postseason, and they've all been in games 1 through 3 of his series. In the back end of series, he hasn't had that breakout game, and I think Game 5 against Dallas is going to be a perfect time for him to have that breakout game in a closeout scenario. So I mean, I do expect Steph Curry to be doing this to Dallas and maybe hitting the dagger shot, but I'm looking for Poole to have a big game.
He has to get out early too and start hitting shots early to kind of get that confidence up. But I think if he can, kind of like Clay or Steph, if he can hit his first couple, or when he hits his first couple, kind of getting on that heat check mode, and it doesn't even have to be from outside. I mean, he is such an underrated driving, slasher in so many ways. I mean, some of the moves that he can put on, he reminds me a lot of a young, a baby Steph Curry. I mean, his handles are just silly. Sometimes he can drive through, 2 or 3 guys and put up a crazy wraparound reverse and whatever, draw a foul. Best free throw shooter in the league this year also. So get him to the line and get him as many free throws as possible.
Yeah. John?
I was gonna say Steph. I think he's due for a bounce back. What did he have? What did he put up tonight? 20.
He went 5 of 10 from the outside. I know. I think he took 10.
It was 20 points. Yeah, 20-point game.
Little quiet 20 points.
So
really
I would say unless for whatever reason Kuminga blows your socks off, puts up 25. If Jordan Poole gets a 30-point game, Steph gives you 30, 36, 35, 36. If Clay can give you 15 to, what's Clay averaging? 12, 15. What is he averaging?
He's
in the series
Clay
or in the
have
postseason?
In the postseason.
He's probably around 17, 18. I'll check that though.
Okay. I guess I'd say Steph is due for a big game.
Okay.
They're going to be double teaming and triple teaming him, so it's going to be hard unless he's moving off the ball and gets a screen and kick off of it. But I could see him go for 30 plus game 4. Like I said, I think the roof is going to get blown off.
So,
I think the Warriors we're going to finish this here, and that'll be the end of it.
So looks like Clay's averaging 19.5.
Yeah,
Wow.
and that doesn't count tonight, so probably closer to 19 after his 12.
Yeah. So for me though, I'm gonna mix it up a bit. I'm gonna say Kevon Looney. I think he has a good game. I think he goes. I think he goes double. And I could see him going for maybe another 20-point game.
Whoa! All right.
I kind of wanted to say Draymond.
Another 20 rebound game for him there too, Brandon.
Yeah. I think he really works the paint this next game for sure. Yeah, I think that's my take.
And I want to thank Kevin for coming on tonight. Reached out to him last minute, and he was, just gracious to come on and just let everybody know, Kevin, what you got in store and where people can find you.
Oh yeah, on Twitter at Kevo408. Thanks for having me, BZ. It's great talking with you guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure, Kevin.
Thanks for joining.
To talk to you for a while,
I got a quick question for Kevin.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kevin, are you affiliated with the Santa Cruz Warriors?
Yeah. So I'm a play-by-play broadcaster for the Santa Cruz Warriors, and I've been with them since year one. So I just finished my 10th year with the team. So yeah, these posters right here. This is the champion.
Yeah.
15. If you look really tight, this is Seth. If you can squint your eyes, maybe you can see Seth Curry right here.
I can kind of see him.
Thompson, Onion Kuzmic, former draft pick. So yeah. That's
awesome,
my
man.
history with the team.
Hey, Kevin's a humble guy. He was also I believe you were on NBC and doing the play-by-play for the Olympics game. The pre.
Oh yeah. That was a crazy story.
Yeah, that was nice. And you can catch him on 95.7 The Game, and he appears on Locked On Warriors with Cyrus. So yeah, Kevin's all over the place, man. He does a lot of college sports broadcasting.
Kevin, you've called Warriors games when Tim Roy needed a day off or some leave as well, too. Does a great job even for the big club.
Appreciate it. Hey, Golden State Warriors are 7-2 when I broadcast their games. So
okay, man. Hey, broadcast the finals. Broadcast the finals, man.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I wish we had our own broadcast team for this series because I cannot stand the TNT crew. I'm just gonna put that out there.
What was that little thing they played before? We're gonna end this in a minute, but did you guys see that little riff that they had between Mark Jackson? It was like the ABC crew and the TNT.
It was the brothers. It was Jeff Van Gundy and Stan Van Gundy.
There you go.
Saying if you had a 2-on-2 with Stan and Reggie versus Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson, who would win, and then Reggie took it a step further and said, well, if we have the third, I'll take Kevin Harlan over Mike Breen, and if we go a step even further, I'll take Ali LaForce over Lisa Salters. It was actually pretty funny.
It was funny. It was a funny little bit.
Yeah. Kevin, once again, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. John V, thank you for joining us as well.
For the Locker Room Rant. Check him out on YouTube, the Locker Room Rant.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the invite. Thank you so much. Kevin, it was cool meeting you, man. That's awesome, man. I'll have to check it out, man. That's cool.
Hey, thank you, John. I appreciate it.
John, I just subscribed to your channel, so I'll definitely check you out on your next show.
Cory, I'll bring you on, brother. I'll bring you on, man.
Yeah, bring Cory on.
I appreciate it.
If the times work out, my schedule's a little screwy, but if we can find some time, I'll definitely jump in there with you.
I mean, I'm over here on the East Coast, man. I get it. Yeah, I get it. It's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good.
But I appreciate it, Kevin and John. Really great to speak with you guys.
Hey, pleasure was mine. Thank you, fellas.
Hey, pleasure mine.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thanks, man.
We're gonna be live for Game 5 as well, post game, and hopefully we'll be celebrating this time. But if you guys are free and want to join again, just let me know. I'll be glad to have you guys on again. So that's out there.
All right.
But just real quick before we end, if you guys haven't yet, go over to my Twitter page at GSW_podcast. Instagram spelled all the way out, Locked In GSW Podcast. Go over to our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Locked In GSW Podcast. And our YouTube channel spelled all the way out, Locked In GSW Podcast. If you haven't hit that subscribe and like button already. John, again, thank you for shouting us out on your channel earlier today. I really appreciate that. Man. So we're going to wrap it up here. Until next time, go Dubs.
Let's go. Go Warriors.
Whoop that trick.
Peace.